Last week was my official 7th year on YouTube. 250 videos, 456,000 views, 7,173 subscribers, and a small business later, here I am. And if you're thinking that ain't a whole lot of subscribers for someone that's been on YouTube for the last 7 years, well, it's okay. I mean, I guess you are right. But for me, it just feels par for the course because I'm not extraordinarily good at anything in particular. I've never been the best at any one thing. If anything, I'm just average. But my biggest strength has always been my willingness to try new things and to see them through. Like the time that I decided to do our high school beauty pageant and that my talent was going to be to sing Bette Midler's The Rose because I had absolutely no experience singing. I had never sung in front of any one person, much less a small group of people or a large group of people for that fact. And so why wouldn't I naturally choose singing as my talent? And if this all sounds self-deprecating, it's not. I'm a 41-year-old woman that has a full-time career as a marketing professional, a job that requires of me at least 40 hours a week, some weeks more. On top of that, I am also a wife, a sister, a daughter, and a friend who tries really hard to be present. And so the name of the game for me has always been balance, and perhaps you can relate. So starting my business, The Seasoned Marketer, back in March of 2017 was a really big deal. And then starting YouTube in April of 2017 was just plain awkward. I mean, it literally took me 3 months to post my first video.
Hey y'all, today I'm going to be discussing consumer personas, what they are and how you can.
I didn't hit publish on that video until June of 2017. I didn't know a thing about how to operate a camera or how to use any of the mics. Editing, I knew much less about, in fact. So if you have landed on this video and you can relate to any part of that, perhaps you're a small business owner that wants to use YouTube to grow an audience and then funnel that audience back into your business. Or you could be an over 40-something-year-old that is thinking, what the heck am I doing? YouTube is a young person's game. Or maybe you're just thinking that it's too late, that the time has passed for you to be able to start uploading videos. Or you may still have a full-time job, but we're crazy enough to start a small business on the side and you're hoping that YouTube is going to be the vehicle that allows you to grow that small business enough so to where you can one day leave that 9-to-5. I get it because I was in your shoes and I'm still at the beginning stages of my YouTube journey. I understand that. And so today I want to share just a few encouraging and actionable tips because I wish somebody had shared these things with me early on in mine. It would have saved me a whole lot of time and allowed me to kind of get out of my head and just start. Because yes, I can look at it as I've only managed to grow my YouTube channel to 7,173 subscribers in 7 years, or I can look at it for what it is. I've managed to grow an audience base on YouTube while working a full-time job as an executive director and launching a small business and still showing up in my personal life the way that I want. YouTube really does have the capacity to change your life. The key is, though, that you are the baker and YouTube is just one of the many ingredients that you are using to formulate the most perfect recipe to fit your life. After 7 years on this platform, there are a few things that I know to be hard truths. For example, the fact that algorithms, formats, features, and trends change constantly. So instead of focusing on those like most people do and then feeling uninspired to create videos or just getting burnt out, you need to focus on the content you're creating and taking a look at what type of community you want to build on the channel. How do you want people to feel when they land on your channel and start to go through and watch your videos? And how are you willing to show up? What does that look like for you? This will likely take some experimenting on your part, and so do not be afraid to try new things. One of the things that I will give myself credit for is that early on, I was definitely aware of the fact that I did not have a large audience base, but I used that to my advantage because I thought this right here is the time for me to figure out what type of format I want to use on these videos. And so the first couple of videos that I posted were actually long form videos.
So when people often think about branding, they often think branding means keeping a consistent logo.
Then I had an idea, because I knew that small business owners were always pressed for time. I thought that I could and should concise the material and the marketing information into a 60-second video type of format.
If you aren't taking advantage of Google Alerts, get on it today. Hi y'all, the seasoned marketer here with your Monday Marketing Minute. 2 words, Google Alerts.
It was very hard to do. And so eventually I did recognize that while I was sharing information that was useful within a shorter, condensed time frame, I wasn't able to get as granular as I wanted to. And so then I reverted back to a longer form video. And so I also played around with a video format that I was calling Vino Viernes, which meant that every Friday I would sit down with a glass of wine and have a more type of conversational discussion about some hot topic that happened in the marketing world that previous week. Now, a lot of these were typically about larger brands, and the idea was I wanted to get some commentary or discussion going about what people thought about that particular topic.
Hi y'all, the seasoned marketer here with another Vino Viernes, where we discuss a current issue, topic, or event in the marketing world and try to decide if we want to raise a glass to it or pour one out for our homies. This week, we are going to be talking about the Fiji girl. So as many of you may know, she has become infamous over the past week because of her appearance and photobombing of stars at the Golden Globes.
But here's the thing, is that really didn't hit because small business owners don't hang out on Friday night on YouTube just to hear about bigger brands, right? They're out there doing other stuff. They're probably relaxing with their family and friends and using their time outside of YouTube. So that was something that I did not keep. However, experimenting with these different video formats really did help me gain my confidence, in the sense that once I kind of landed on a more educational long form type of video that worked well for me, I was confident that I could deliver good information that people would keep coming back to listen to. The one thing that really helped me to stay in that groove was to start using templates. And so if you've been thinking about starting on YouTube and you haven't posted videos yet, or perhaps you are posting them and you haven't thought about this, there's no reason for you to recreate the wheel. Templates help you because they make it easier for you to be able to just put content out there and get your ideas on paper or on a laptop in some way, shape, or form. I mean, have you ever really noticed that most recipes all use the same ingredients? However, the best ones, or the ones that stand out, really are the ones that do something different within the process, or maybe add a special ingredient. YouTube is very much the same way. So posting videos is not rocket science. Usually any type of video format is going to have an intro, a body, some element of storytelling, and also an outro. And then when it comes to the actual elements of uploading that video, of course you're going to have the title of the video, the description, which in the description you want to be able to get people off of the platform and onto an email list or whatever else you're wanting to promote your products and services. You also want to include a banging thumbnail. So all of these elements are included in every single YouTube video that is uploaded. But it's your creativity and the way that you present your idea that really is the secret sauce or the special ingredient. That's the one thing that is going to allow you to grow your community, because that is something that nobody else can replicate. Over the 7 years, personally, I had to get really good at creating efficiencies because I still have a full-time job. And so using templates any way that I could, or figuring out just key elements that I wanted to keep consistent in every video, was extremely helpful to me. So this right here, this video template that I created, is one that I use for every single video that I create. If you want to swipe this thing, if you want to be able to create your own videos, go ahead and go to this webpage right here. I'll also have a link to it down in the description below. No reason for you guys to start from scratch. I mean, literally just take this template and customize it to whatever liking you have. But the reason that this template right here has been so effective for me is because all of the writing, the ideas, the recording, and then also editing of every single video, I've had to do within the constraints of the time that I'm able to work on it. Early morning, late into the evening, or solely on the weekends. And so being able to condense that information allows me to work on a couple different ideas all at once. So for example, if on a Wednesday evening I'm just not feeling it and I can't sit down and just write a script, I can go in, and if I have an idea for what I want the title to be, I can fill the blank in, start to put the title in there. I can jot down just maybe some key bullet points of what I want to cover in the video, and then I can return to it the next day or whenever I have time and I do feel inspired to write and look at the script. Additionally, when I'm going through and I'm filling out this template right here, one of the key components that I know makes all the difference is that I research my topic. Now, I don't buy into this whole like I'm competing with another channel or anything like that, because let's be real, every single channel is going to be completely different, because as creators, as people, we all have very differing personalities and ideas, and we build very different communities on these platforms. So none of them are ever the same, and you can't recreate something that isn't really authentic to you, right? But going into YouTube and actually seeing what other videos are available to my target audience about the particular topic that I want to cover is really important, because what it does is it shows me the gaps, right? And so a perfect example of this is this video right here that I posted in 2020, Facebook Ads Manager versus Facebook Business Suite versus Facebook Creator Studio, when to use each app. It has over 18,000 views because back in 2020, while I noticed that there were a ton of video options for each one of those apps individually, there was not one that really compared all of them up against each other. And there wasn't any video that clearly told small business owners when to use each, because all of the Facebook products were very similar. So as a small business owner, you could be left thinking, when should I be using the Ads Manager, and what's the difference between the Business Suite and the Creator Studio? Watching the other YouTube videos that were available at that time just really hit home for me, because for one, I knew that all three of these were things that small business owners, my target audience, were using. Additionally, I knew that I was going to be providing a very different perspective because there was no video at that time that was talking about it in that type of way. And then additionally, I knew that I was going to give solid advice because I knew all three of those like the back of my hand. And so here's proof that the video did all three of those things. Here are just two of the comments that were left on that video. I can't find the words to tell you how much I appreciate finding you in this video. You are so clear and easy to follow. I'm not a Facebook fan for many reasons, and I want to use that as a tool in my new marketing strategy I'm implementing. I've had so many issues trying to work with Business Suite, and there seems to be no one who can help me. From what you have presented, the issue is not my lack of understanding, but the limitations of the app. I will be following you, and I will be recommending your channel to anyone I know who is experiencing the same frustrations I have had. Just want to add that I never posted any public comment before. This is way more deserving. Thanks again. Hey, thank you for the amazing neat and clean video. As a newbie Facebook ads creator, it cleared many of my doubts. One more though, can we give access to another person to edit existing Facebook ads in Business Suite? Now, if you're thinking this clearly doesn't apply to me because I don't plan on sharing educational videos, well, you're wrong. Because even if you're doing something that's a little more vlog-like, you need to know your target audience really well. And I think that's the part where a lot of this research comes in. You know, I was sharing with you guys that I tried a 𝘰𝘂𝘂𝘀𝘀 type of video format. While that was great, I think when I started to look at what other videos small business owners were looking at on YouTube, I realized that they aren't commentary videos, okay? So they're just not showing up and staying on YouTube for opinions and comments unless it's related to something that could potentially help them. And so, you know, my problem there was that I was trying to share information about bigger businesses and brands that they really didn't care about. It wasn't affecting them personally. And so that's where I had to pivot a little more. But had I not done the research and actually come to that conclusion, I may still be spending my time trying to make 𝘰𝘂𝘂𝘀𝘀 work. And while you do want to be sure that you're attracting the right people to your videos, when it comes to the people in your life, let's say colleagues, family, and friends, well, it's a whole different story. You want to be extremely careful about the unsolicited commentary, feedback, or opinions that you listen to in regards to what you are doing. YouTube is the long game. It likely is going to take you months, if not years, to get your channel really up and going. And if the first thing that comes to mind whenever I say something like that is, well, look at Mr. Beast and how many millions of subscribers he's accrued in his short lifetime. Well, Mr. Beast will be the first to tell you that it took him years to get to the first 1,000 subscribers. He even posted, and even getting 1,000 subscribers took me years as well. You have to love YouTube. If we're being honest with ourselves, the majority of us will never see the amount of subscribers or grow an audience base the way Mr. Beast has, simply because we are not willing to do the two things that he did. Relentlessly obsess over videos every day for a decade and reinvest every single dollar back into the channel. I was 34 years old when I hit publish on my first YouTube video, and by that time I was married, I had a mortgage, I had started a small business, and I like spending my money on concert and art supplies. And so I was not willing to do what he did, which is to obsess and make YouTube my entire life. I also was not willing to spend every dime I had on YouTube because I had other things and other priorities. But Jimmy, aka Mr. Beast, did give us some really solid advice. Think decades, not years. YouTube isn't going anywhere. How many of us are tempted to pull something out of the oven way too soon just because of what somebody is saying? Be really selective about the feedback that you listen to. And I'm going to give you guys a really brutally honest opinion, which you may not agree with, so let me know down in the comments below because I do want an open discussion about this. There is a time in your YouTube journey that you cannot listen to feedback from family, friends, or colleagues. Now, your target audience, sure, that's a different story, but the people in your everyday life are likely not going to understand what you are doing. The crazy thing is that once I got over the hump of physically hitting record and figuring out how to edit the video and then uploading it and hitting publish. Remember, I started the YouTube channel in April and I didn't hit publish on that first video until June. So it took me all that time to really feel confident enough to show up on camera and put it out into the YouTube universe. And then once I did that, the amount of unsolicited commentary that I was getting from people was just astounding to me. It wasn't that they were purposefully trying to be hurtful, they just didn't see YouTube the way that I saw YouTube. So to them, YouTube was a platform that people went on to share their vlogs of what they do in everyday life, or for teenagers to stream themselves, gaming on a live stream. And so they didn't understand that as a small business owner, I wanted to utilize it in my business to grow my audience, to then feed back into the business part of it. I saw opportunity. They thought it was just a place where, people just kind of showed up to lollygag. And you know what? All these years later, what I recognize and see now is the people that were giving me that commentary are not the people that use YouTube. I mean, to this day, can you believe that people actually go on to Google something like best chocolate cupcake recipe? They don't go to YouTube like maybe you and I do. So they just have different habits, and they don't see YouTube as the big opportunity that it is, and that is absolutely okay. They don't need to understand it because I do. I say all this just to give you permission right now to ignore people's commentary, okay? Feedback, great, you can take it or leave it, but at the end of the day, I will tell you this. There are a lot of people that always have given me feedback about my videos, what type of format I should do them in, and they're all people that sit on the sidelines. They don't create videos. They don't have experience with the YouTube community. They're sitting on the sidelines and making commentary about what they think I should do. Interestingly enough, these are not the people that I make videos for. They're not small business owners, and they are not small business owners that are doing their marketing internally, which is the type of person that I create the videos for. So I always think to myself, if you're not my target audience, I'm really not going to listen. I may listen to a small part of what you're saying and try to understand it, but at the end of the day, I have to remember who my target audience is and why I'm doing this. But even if you do everything that I talked about earlier, so you're willing to try new things, you use templates to make things a little easier on yourself, you're researching your topics, and you're being super selective about the feedback that you're listening to, there are two key things that you want to be doing that I consider to be a part of that frosting the cupcake process, okay? So things that are really going to allow you to present your information and put your videos out there in the best type of way. Focus on the routine more than the applause. Now, this one helps, especially at the very beginning when you don't have a big audience, because what I have found is that repetition and creating some type of routine is going to help you to show up consistently. And you need that consistency to eventually build a larger audience. But that is going to be hard to do if you are attaching your motivation or your desire to show up in front of the camera to an audience that's applauding for you. Because if you don't have anyone there to applaud for you, well, I mean, you just, that's going to be the case when you start out. So just know the first couple of videos that you're going to post, you're likely not going to get a ton of engagement or perhaps likes on that video or even views. But if you focus instead on the routine part of it, so becoming more efficient in the way that you show up, hit record, edit your videos, publish them. Once you get that consistency down and you feel solid in that routine, then whenever the engagement does kick in, as it will down the road, you're able to focus on that part of it. You got the video formatting creation part of it down. Because I'll be honest, had I focused on the applause, I would have quit doing YouTube 6 months in. All right, so my audience base did not grow as quickly as other channels did because of the type of content I'm sharing. So, lots of people, small business marketing, snooze fest, right? It's not as exciting as some of these other channels are, but because I knew that I wanted to reach small business owners to share the experience and the advice that I could with them so that they could grow their small business from the marketing side of things. That was what allowed me to focus on the routine part of it instead. So if you have to kick it old school and go back to something like we did in elementary, where you just create some type of monthly calendar where you give yourself a star every week that you show up, or if you want to do monthly videos, you could do it every month. Use a year-long calendar. Do that. Whatever it takes to motivate yourself and to keep you consistent is going to be extremely helpful during that first initial phase of starting on YouTube. And lastly, get comfortable with being just average. I mean, I hate to tell y'all, but the thing is, if you've never been on YouTube before, it's a very strange journey. You find out a lot about yourself as a creator and about the target audience that you're trying to attract. I get it. We all want to show up as the best version of ourselves, especially when a camera is pointed at you. But I can't tell you, I spent a whole lot of time thinking about what my background looked like, moving things around, all of that stuff. And that was fine. That was a part of my journey in figuring out what was important in these videos and aesthetically how I wanted things to look. But I wish I had spent a little more time on figuring out the storytelling part up front instead of worrying about what my background looked like. So figuring out the content and focusing on the type of community that I wanted to create would have probably benefited me early on so that I could grow my audience a lot quicker. Am I ever going to feel that things are perfect? Absolutely not. And they won't be, because I'm in a constant state of learning. Just remember that this right here was the first video that I posted, and it took me 3 months to post this, okay? It had no background. The audio quality was terrible, but the biggest step for me was just to show up and to hit publish. You can learn the rest as you go. So just be okay with being average when you first start out, and know that you can make small improvements and tweaks as you go, so that way you can show up in the best light possible. So if you were to ask me today if starting a YouTube channel is worth it, I would wholeheartedly, after 7 years of a slow burn of growing an audience base on YouTube, say yes. But there's a big asterisk there, because remember that YouTube is going to be just one of these special ingredients that you use to create that most perfect recipe. You get to decide how YouTube fits into your life and how it fits into your small business. There is so much opportunity out there, and it can be extremely fulfilling. Just be sure that along the way you are building something that you enjoy.